So, you want to be an earthbender, huh? Getting tired of flying around? Or using questionable moves? Finally decided to put your toes in the sand? Well, let me show you why Earth is the best element. Now, let's quickly go over the techniques.
Boulder. The way you cast is by getting the trigger button and aiming at the floor, then pressing and holding it and pulling it out of the ground. Now, the way to use this is to launch it forward with a punching motion like this. Also, if you press and hold it for around 2 seconds, you'll get a charged variant that deals double the damage. Earth Spear. Same thing as the boulder, except you press the grip button to turn it into the spear. It works the same way as the boulder, except that it has a smaller hitbox, so I would only use these as if it's a guaranteed shot, and it deals 1 additional point of damage. Earth Saw. Just like the previous two, except you press the grip button 1 additional time. 1 for the spear, the second one for the saw. I would not recommend using this, only because it deals the exact same amount of damage as the spear, but the range and speed is significantly lower. Earth Wall. Cast it the same way as the boulder, but with 2 hands. Use cases for this is by holding trigger on it, you're able to move it left, right, up, down, so that you're able to block projectiles. You're also able to shove it forward so that you can deal damage with it. And the third tip is for mobility. If you cast it directly under your feet, it'll launch you into the air. Earth Wall Detach. This is a passive that works on the Earth Wall and the Earth Pillar. The Earth Pillar is just an enhanced double jump. So once you unlock this, once you press the A button a second time, it will summon a pillar automatically under your feet. Now, Earth Wall Detach. By pressing and holding the trigger onto a wall or a pillar, and then pressing the grip button, it will detach it from the ground so that you're able to turn it into a projectile. Which leads me to Earth Punch. Once you have unlocked this passive, it allows you to manually strike any structure to launch it forward, while also detaching it. Once you unlock this passive, I don't want to ever see you guys holding the trigger and pushing it forward. Just look at the difference. Earth Spikes. The same way you do the boulder, but with a different gesture, okay? So you're going to press and hold the trigger in the ground, but instead of pulling it out, I want you to do a sweeping motion like you're rolling a bowling ball. Which leads me to the Earth Trap. Same thing as the spikes, it's just a charge variant. Once you hit a player with this move, it will lock them down, restricting all movement abilities, but they can still fight back. Be careful. Earth Hammer. By putting your hands close together and simultaneously pressing the triggers, you'll summon this, and what it's used for is 1 for mobility, by creating a shockwave when you strike stuff. And the second is for throwing it as a projectile, dealing some pretty decent damage, 5 points to be exact. And it's really nice for when people are in close range and low HP, you can finish them off easily. Earth Hand. Same as the boulder, but instead of pulling out the rock in front of you, I want you to pull it by your hip. This is the most consistent way I've found to get them. Use cases for these. When you press the grip buttons, it will send them out, locking onto a surface. Then from here, you'll kind of get like Star Wars Force, and you're able to get some vertical movement, as seen here, or some horizontal movement. But the biggest thing is recovery. If you get knocked off, this is the best way you're getting back on the map. Earth Armor, my absolute favorite technique in the Earth class. Very simple to cast. You just strike a T-pose and hold the triggers. You will then see your body morph into this Earth Armor, and all this does is, while it gives you a debuff of slowing your walk speed, it greatly increases your defense. Last technique, Ground Slam. As you know, as an Earth user, you wield Earth. If you are in the air, you cannot use your techniques. So, a way of getting back on the ground quicker, if you're able to launch yourself up with a wall, is with the slam. And the way you activate the slam is the same way you activated the armor. Strike that T-pose, hold the triggers, and you'll slam down, causing a shockwave. The higher you up in the air, the bigger the damage. Do not use this technique for damage. You're just using it to get back down onto the ground quicker. Passives I would recommend for Earth. Vital Discipline. I would always use this no matter what, because with our limited mobility options, being able to have that extra health to enact our counterattack playstyle is very, very useful. Fleet Dexterity gives you 1 additional dash charge, so if you're craving more mobility rather than damage, this is the one for you. Vengeful Rage. This comboed with Vital Discipline allows you to reach the activation point quicker and keep it for longer, because Vital Discipline will give you 6 additional points of HP, so having that additional 35% damage up longer is insane. And for this video, Vital Discipline and Vengeful Rage are 2 passives I highly recommend paired together. Aerial Obliterator, one of the Earth's exclusive passives. All it does is it increases Earth walls by 50% while airborne. If you want to be a ranged Earth user, this is the passive for you. Stone Stance. While grounded, 35% more damage, take 50% less knockback, and less 10% walk speed. I wouldn't really recommend this ever, only because Vengeful Rage is infinitely better, because it doesn't give you the negative 10 walk speed, and with the armor, I don't know if they stack, but that would be a negative 20% walk speed. And also, in some instances, the 50% knockback could also be a nerf. Let's say if 2 people jumped you, and one of them was stupid enough to knock you away, that would actually help you, because you're able to then summon walls and fight back. But with Stone Stance, if someone was to jump on you like that, and you didn't get knocked back, you would just be in the center of that death ball. Ultimates. As you know, we have 2 ultimates, Meteor and Death Trap. I would only recommend Meteor just because it does the same amount of damage as Death Trap, but it's infinitely easier to hit.
Now that you know what techniques we have and the recommended passives, I encourage new Earth users to limit themselves to Boulder, Spear, Saw, and Wall. Then hop in PvE until you are comfortable and fluid. Then slowly add more techniques, and before you know it, you will subconsciously know which technique to use in whatever scenario, allowing you to focus more on what your opponent is doing rather than what you're going to do. Playstyle. Of course, with anything in life, there are going to be different opinions, which is a good thing. Different perspective on things is what keeps life interesting. So when people tell me that this is the best way to play Earth, I don't immediately shut them down and start a debate. I let them have their fun, and if after this video that looks more fun, go for it. But I'm going to teach you my opinion on the most optimal way to use Earth with a playstyle I named Last Stand. Couple things you need to know. First is that the ground is our weapon and our shield. If you are in the air, you are extremely vulnerable to attack, as you are unable to use most of your techniques. Also, you will have a very predictable pathing, allowing players to easily punish you every time you land. If you find yourself wanting to be in the air a lot, I think you might be playing the wrong element. Second, with our passives giving us an insane damage boost, you need to complement that with a huge defense boost. And that's where our armor comes into play. This technique is one of the core reasons why this playstyle is so strong. Being able to shrug off hits that would send most players to the Shadow Realm, and also having the ability to fire back with attacks that leave players disconnecting by their headsets short-circuiting from the massive buildup of tears, is just so satisfying. The game plan is simple. You choose an area of the map that is preferably flat, open, with little to no high ground. Then armor up. Now wait for some poor soul to come and challenge you, as you are too slow to engage on anyone and don't want to leave the area that gives you multiple advantages. There are 3 different types of players you will come into contact with, the most common one being the mosquito. These types of players refuse to touch the ground and will also keep their distance, spamming low damaging attacks even more so because you have your armor. Just throw a wall up, charge 2 boulders, and keep attacking. They will eventually leave or get impatient and rush you, especially air users, which gives you an easy kill. The second one is the Chad. These players are primarily other earth users who also have a more ground-based style of play, but I have seen some fire users attempt it as well. In these matchups, you're focusing on making as little mistakes as possible, doing short exchanges for burst damage. I recommend summoning a wall, then punching it forward when a boulder is charged. Once the wall is sent flying, immediately follow it up with the boulder. If he's defending well, stop with the first tip and try this. Once again, start by summoning a wall, then charging your boulder with one hand and in the other a trap. Once the wall goes down, send the trap forward, then follow it up with the boulder. Keep repeating until he's trapped. At that point, advance forward and finish it with the earth spike spam. And the next player, the hybrid. These players are the most difficult to fight, as they will be proficient in their element and have a lot of experience fighting. They will adapt to your playstyle, so changing it up is crucial. When against these types of players, there's a couple of things you can do. In one hand, charge a boulder, and in the other, a trap. Don't stay behind walls, as he will know how to counter them. Instead, use your walls for the little mobility they offer to hit easier shots, making him lose momentum for a possible follow-up attack. Also, you can do an uppercut motion and send your walls flying upwards without having to detach them first. And if all else fails, hurling 2 massive balls at your opponent repeatedly has always worked for me. Let's recap. Try to keep your armor online as much as possible. With our passives giving us that huge damage boost, we need to make sure we get the most value out of it. Do not be afraid to tank a hit if it means you can land a more damaging technique for a positive health trade. Against skilled players, don't stay behind your walls. Our long range options are boulder and spear. Our close range options are trap combined with the earth spike spam. In niche scenarios, the earth hammer can get the job done. And for anyone wanting more advanced tips, there's a Discord full of players much better than me. I would highly recommend joining. The link will be in the description. Alright, I'm done yapping. Have a good one.